So I'd like to call this meeting to order, to adopt the agenda. Be it resolved that the meeting be called to order and that the agenda for meeting be adopted as circulated. Could I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Councilor Bichetti moves. Can I second her? Councilor Campbell seconds it. Could there be any comments, questions? None? Could I call for the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. So we'll continue on. I guess I'd just like to thank all the guests that are here this evening. It's nice to see faces and smiles in the audience today. It's a real pleasure to see you all. So we go down now to number 7, confirmation of minutes, 7.1, Committee of the Whole minute for April 11th, 2023. Be it resolved that the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting of Council held on April 11th, 2023 be approved.
I'll move it, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Pactacan moves it. Can I have a seconder, please? Councilor Kleiber seconds it. Any questions, comments on the minutes? Any? Okay, hearing none, can I call for the question, please? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None. Carried. Okay, now we go down to 7.2. The minutes from April 13th. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular planning meeting of council held on April 13th, 2023 be approved. Could I have a mover, please? Councilor Bichetti moves. Could I have a seconder, please? Councilor Kleiber seconds it. Any questions or comments on it? None? Okay, can I call for the question? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None? Carried. Go down to 7.3, special meeting on April 20th. Be it resolved that the minutes of the special meeting of council held on April 20th, 2023 be approved. Could I have a mover, please? Councilor Bichetti moves. Could I have a seconder? Councilor Pactacan seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? None. Carried. Now we go down to, there's no delegations, bylaws. Okay, second reading of the indemnity bylaw, 9.1. Now let me get down to this thing. Okay, be it resolved that the bylaw 2023, being a bylaw of the rural municipality of West St. Paul to establish indemnities to be paid to members of council and repeal bylaw 2018-21 be read for the second time. Could I have a mover, please?
I'll move, please.
Can I have a,
Second.
could I have Councilor Kleiber move it and Councilor Bichetti seconds it? Any comments or questions?
Yes.
Okay, Councilor Kleiber.
You know, this is on me because I didn't read enough through the administration report the last time. But I noticed that under section C6, there's a removal, and I would like to keep that in. It says, removed within 1 day, no member of council shall submit for more than one meeting outside the boundaries of the municipality and one meeting within the boundaries of the municipality unless authorized by resolution of council. I think that we should keep that in there. I've seen council members, if we would lift that, could abuse, and I'm not saying on this council, but I have seen people put numerous meetings in, and I think that if they go over this limit, that they should be accountable to the rest of council as to why they're over that limit. And council should approve it. So I would like to keep section 6 in and not remove that. And I don't recall discussing that previously, so that is just my thoughts. I'd like to hear what the rest of council says about that.
I do believe.
Okay, Councilor Campbell, go ahead.
Sorry, I do believe the acting CEO has something to add.
Yes, if I may, Mr. Council.
Okay, go ahead.
I just would suggest if council does consider leaving that you update the language just to refer to a number of meetings, because this in its current state refers to one within the boundaries, one without, but it doesn't talk about how many within the boundaries or how many outside of the boundaries. So I think you might want to consider that if council considers updating the wording, okay?
So could we say 2 meetings per day and anything either outside or inside, doesn't matter, 2 meetings per day, anything over and above that must be approved by council?
I think that is the line that you should go, pick a number.
Yeah.
And not worry about the location of the meeting.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
okay.
So as amended,
Yeah.
we'll read.
Any other comments, questions?
If we can do that as amended, I'm all in favor.
Okay, so I have, I guess I have a question, and I think probably it should be, I have 2 issues, I guess, with it. One of them is that I really don't see anything where we're accountable for what we do. Like, I thought we were gonna say what some of these indemnities include, like the monthly indemnity, does it include the 3 meetings a month or 4 meetings a month? If we could be a little more specific on that. And also, it says that it's $150 for 4 hours in duration. So does that mean we have to stay for the entire meeting? And what happens if we don't stay for the entire meeting? I think that needs to be clarified too, because according to this, I guess we gotta just decide what it means.
I'm not sure what you're saying now.
Well, you know what, if I come along, I have a meeting we get a meeting, it's a 3-hour meeting, and I show up for half an hour and then I leave, do I get paid for the $150 or do I have to stay the whole 4 hours or the whole meeting?
The language is up to and including 4 hours, so any time from the time you show up to 4 hours.
Yeah. So I think
I'm okay with that verbiage,
up to or what?
how it currently reads.
Okay, so what happens if someone only shows up for an hour to a meeting?
For 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
But what happens if the meeting's only an hour and a half?
Oh, no, okay, that's the length of the meeting.
That's different.
That's
Yeah.
different, right? That's basically any event is that we, if there's a event, that we should at least stay there for a amount of duration to show that, to be responsible for it. And this year is that, I could show up to a meeting, I take example today, I could leave today and I get paid for the whole meeting today. Right? I mean, I didn't fulfill my duties, but I'm still getting paid for it.
I personally think we're sort of off course with that, like, I don't think it's a common thing, like, if all of a sudden I got a call and I had to go pick up my kid because he crashed his bike or something right now, I'm not really worried about getting paid for the meeting. I'm, different if someone's doing it every meeting, which I've never seen anybody, in the 16 years I've been watching anything at council where people are constantly leaving meetings.
I think, if I may add,
Go ahead.
there's an element of trust and ethics in submitting your indemnity sheet.
Yeah.
Okay,
We in the office do not call, I don't call, for example, Red River Planning District and verify that you attended the meeting. I trust if you say you're attending, that you have and you are owed per the indemnity bylaw. So I think there has to be a level of trust and responsibility in reporting. And we can't address every possible potential circumstance in your activities.
no, and I agree with that too, there has to be an element of trust, but sometimes, some people take advantage of it, so. Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
one more thing you said, there is quite a breakdown of what's included in the indemnity under the chart that we have on here.
but that doesn't reflect into this year though, right? Unless we put that tied to this one here,
Okay, I understand.
right?
But it is the administration report, which to me should be attached to the bylaw. That's just basically a breakdown of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, like number 5 says on the bylaw, for attending any meetings outside of the regular planning meeting, regular meetings, and committee of the whole meetings.
oh, okay,
Members of council may be paid as follows.
oh, okay,
So then that
I didn't see that part.
encapsulates the 3 meetings, but I think, and I don't know if this is included in, I haven't looked like really closely, but I think it's understood by all of us that we're not just being paid for the meeting, we're being paid for preparing for the meeting, we're being paid for reading all the documents and meeting with our constituents and phone calls and so forth, and emails, that is part of our indemnity. So, maybe not be spelled out, but it's certainly understood by members of council that
Okay.
that's what we're being paid for. Am I wrong in that? And if anybody else wants to, I think
No, no,
that's
that's okay.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will add as well, in the administration report, since this agenda has been posted, the RM of Rosser, in that chart, we had listed their proposed 2023 indemnity bylaw. That was passed this week by the RM of Rosser, so just for added information.
Okay, any other comments?
Okay, so, can I just get, Ms. Shaw to just elaborate on that a bit? Because when I look at Arm of Rosser,
So
that's their 2022.
there's two columns for Rosser. One is their
Oh, I
current,
see.
and we added the proposed,
Yeah,
and that has been formally adopted.
there you go, okay, good. Good to see that, all right, thank you. Okay.
Okay, so, any other comments, questions? Okay, I call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor as amended?
As amended, right, all in favor as amended?
Yes,
Aye.
aye.
Aye, aye, okay. All opposed? None? Okay, thank you. That is that one. So now we do the third reading of the amended indemnity bylaw. Be it resolved that the bylaw 22304, being a bylaw of the rural municipality of West St. Paul to establish indemnities to be paid to members of council and repeal bylaw 2018-21 be heard a third and final time, signed and sealed, therefore passed as a bylaw of the rural municipality of West St. Paul. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Kleiber moves, Councillor Patrican seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? None? Okay, carried. Now we go down to, let's see, 9.3, second reading of the tax levy bylaw, 2023-01. 9.3, where are we there? Be it resolved that the, 05, oh, that's what you said. Thank you. Okay, be it resolved that the bylaw 2023-05, being a bylaw of the rural municipality of West St. Paul to the tax levy for the year 2023, be read a second time. Could I have a mover, please? Councilor Bichetti moves. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Councilor Campbell, Patrican seconds it. Any comments, questions? Councilor Kleiber?
Yeah, I went through the tax levy bylaw again a second time, just to make sure that I caught everything. And I got down to the 5-year capital expenditure program. I don't believe that council discussed this, and I don't think we set this agenda. So I'm just wondering where these priorities came from. Did they come from administration?
Yeah, the priorities come from administration. It's what we foresee for the future. But before any projects are approved to go ahead, they are presented to council during our budget deliberations. So it's a rough 5-year plan of what we foresee needing repairs or maintenance or replacement in the future.
So I would just say that, we've been at these conferences lately, and we've been told over and over again that the council governs and makes decisions, and administration executes our decisions. So I would like to have at our next budget, that we can have an open discussion about this 5-year plan. I'm not in favor of some of the things that are set up here. I'm just kinda going, oh, okay, no, I don't know about that. So, in the future, if we can, I know our budget took 4 days and it was a long haul, but if we can take a couple of minutes and just go through that 5-year expenditure next time, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. We can definitely review that in the future.
Okay, any other comments? None? Okay, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None. Carried. Going down to 9.4, third reading of the tax levy bylaw 2023-05. Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-05, being a bylaw of the rural municipality of West St. Paul to the tax levy for year 2023, be read a third time and final time, signed, sealed, and therefore passed as a bylaw of the rural municipality of West St. Paul. Could I have a mover, please? Councilor Clyber moves. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Councilor Campbell seconds it. Any questions, comments? None? Could I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Any opposed? None? Seeing none? Carried. Okay, so now there is nothing on 10, nothing on 11.
Mr. Mayor?
10.1.
Pardon?
10.1.
Oh, 10.1 accounts, right. Thank you. Okay. Go to the payment registry of April 2023. Has
I
anyone?
just wanted to ask Michelle a question,
Okay.
and it's really just a confirmation. Anderson Electric and Sons, they finally put the trail lights in over at River's Edge, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. I can definitely report on that. Thank you so much.
Any other comments, questions? None? Okay. Next, we have the March visa statement. Anyone have a look at it? Any comments, questions?
I'm okay with the visa statement, just wondering, Mayor, to you, what is the policy to put things on the visa? Is there a limit, an amount, or, I know some things are automatic, for example, subscriptions to like Microsoft or, something of that, Rogers Wireless, whatever. You have some subscriptions that you put through. But what is the criteria or the policy that we use for other larger items?
Good question. Ask the acting TO. Do we have a policy on
We
what?
don't have a formal policy, but our general policy that we follow in the office would be that our regular bills such as hydro, MTS bill, these are things that are routine payments. Those go onto the visa, help us accumulate points to pay for flights and things like this. That's all that goes to for flights. And then other payments you'll see are where subscriptions, like you say, stores that we might not have an account with,
Right.
and don't have the time perhaps to set up an account for the purchase that's needed. So things like that, depending on who is going to purchase a particular item, it might be done on a card rather than having an account at a particular store.
Okay, and so is there a limit, like a ceiling that we would put on the visa? Because, Mayor, I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you see all these visa transactions and do you approve them?
That is, I don't think I've ever seen a visa statement. I've seen this statement before.
Okay,
Uh,
because these
I
are
was-
transactions going through our
Yep.
community, right? And so I'm just wondering, is there a ceiling, so would we put nothing more than $2,500 on this card? Or, and if it does go on the card, are you then able to go and look at it and approve it? Because I know when you write the checks, you have to have a double signature.
Yeah.
But when it's put on a visa, there's no
Right.
check or balance, is
If our
there?
director of finance could address that.
Yes, so the majority of the visas have a cap of $5,000 except for the CAO / Director of Finance. That limit is a lot higher, it's about, I think it's 40,000. And that being said is because we have the large amounts such as MTS going through, we have insurance, our MPI insurance that goes through the visa normally, which is approximately $20,000. And then we renew it and we pay for it right then and there instead of going and running back and forth.
Right.
Doing that.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
do that
the
too.
reason for that limit.
Yeah.
All flights go on the Visa. We have Waste Connections as well, which is garbage pickup for our bins at our Public Works, Sonova, Fire Hall.
So my question is, where is the check and balance?
So
Like,
we.
he signs over the check.
Yeah, so we have, I'm gonna say 3 years ago, I believe it was 3 years ago, Royal Bank said because we do not have an operating or checking account at their institution, we could no longer pay via check. So we were forced by them to have the funds automatically withdrawn from our account.
Ah,
So we have the statements, we reconcile them with all the receipts, so you're more than welcome to see them. And we do our checks and balances that way. We ensure we have a receipt copy for each charge that is posted to those visas. They're processed the same way as general checks are, it's just an other payment method. You're not gonna see a check to sign, because it's an auto withdrawal from our account. Our hands were tied, we had no way around it.
so I'm just wondering for the larger ticket items, when you have like a $14,000 for a Minister of Finance, if we said there was a ceiling of 2,500 and anything after that, you have to get initial from the mayor, would that be a good check and balance?
I'll add, like, we follow the tendering and procurement policy, so it would
Okay.
have to be a designated officer of the municipality who has limits within their authority to,
Okay, so it goes back to tender and procurement then?
yeah.
Okay, good, thank you.
So, yeah, I wouldn't mind having those the visa statements with the
With the
invoices.
receipts?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that takes us down to now, where are we, 10 point, yeah, we're 10 point. Oh, okay, we did visas, 10, 11, now we go down to 14, 14.1, Rogers Communication. Public notice package of proposed wireless communication installation, 112 Miller Road. Does anyone have any comments on it?
Yeah, I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Go
So
ahead,
I'm just,
Councillor
I was,
Pascal.
yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you to our acting CAO. So I read the package, and it says here that Innovation, Science, and Economic Development has sent out notifications. They're proposing to put a tower next to a few residents on Miller Road. My personal view of this is that that's the wrong location, and that, you know, since ISED is looking for feedback, I've had a chance and an opportunity to speak with the residents affected by this, and some of the residents through them, and it's, I think it makes sense that we sort of put forward a position that the tower be sited to the easterly portion of the property at 1201 Miller Road. So I'm just wondering, what's the best course of action? Is that through a motion, or is that through a letter through you to evolve? I'm wondering.
I'm gonna
Just
let
taking the note there, if I can
yeah,
address, so
go
I can
ahead.
take that direction back, and we can formally submit a response from the municipality. The due date, I believe, is May 1st.
April 30th.
April 30th, which is Sunday, so we can get that sent in tomorrow.
Would it be beneficial if we had a motion from council saying that if the council's unanimous and providing direction to the acting CAO that Evolve find the most easterly location?
I think that would be helpful to support your.
Okay.
Yeah. Councillor
Yeah,
Clyber?
I would also say that I have to agree with Councillor Pactican, that it's either the further easterly portion or a completely different location altogether. Now, I know there's a flight path there, but there's a lot of land in West St. Paul where this tower could go, other than right beside our residence. So if that location, eastern location, is not good for the flight path, then I would ask them to find an alternative location.
Councillor Campbell, you had?
Well, so I'm kind of curious, because, you know, as we had heard in a previous meeting, how they're able to put up a tower without having Red River Planning involved at all. Like, how can they put up a structure without getting permits or anything like that? So I think that's one thing that we should ask, you know, I don't think they should be able to put it up without having to get proper permits, just like anybody else.
Councillor Clyber?
I'm glad you brought that up, Councillor Campbell, because I did write an email to, Mr. Eno
Yeah,
and expressed my concern, and he said that the concerns have to come from council, in a, some form or other, in a letter, and that then Red River Planning could consider that and move it on from there.
yeah, you know what I mean, though, how,
Yeah.
you know, you or I couldn't go and put a structure up on our property without, so I don't really understand how, just cause it's Rogers Communication, that they're allowed to bypass all rules and regulations and just start building it, so I think that's something that Red River Planning, being the planning board here, should, you know, that's something that they should have written into their laws, that, you know, whether it's Rogers, Shaw, or whoever, is not able to just come and put up something, cause like, as we discussed previously, there's a few others that have gone up in the community that nobody knew anything about.
I also had heard from Mr. Eno that if we don't have bylaws in place, then they can do what they want.
Okay, well, we should,
So that's
Let's
why we
just-
would have to put some kind of bylaw together saying, you know, this is what we want as a community. That's my understanding.
So we just do a resolution as council and send it to Rogers and to Red River Planning in our objection of where it's located.
Right. Would you like me to take a moment to wordsmith a resolution?
By all
Yes,
means,
please.
please.
And if you could add something like Councillor Kleber has said, that there's plenty of land on that property to move it as far away from homes and streets as possible. I know they're doing it for the ease of the ease of building it, but it's disruptive to the people in the area.
So I got a question for Councilor Clyber. So you were talking about a bylaw that municipality has to make?
Yeah, so from what I understood from Mr. Eno, if we don't have a bylaw or we don't have something written up, then it goes back to the feds, basically. We can go now in and give our recommendation. And, the feds have said, well, it's actually the RM that makes that decision. So it's kind of like, I don't know who's making decisions because they keep throwing it back and forth. But apparently it comes back to the RM. If the RM doesn't have any bylaws in place, then the RM gives a recommendation to Red River Planning, and Red River Planning moves that on to the feds and says, no, we don't want it. Will they listen? That's another story. But
So then we should be crafting a bylaw for this too?
yeah, we should be drafting we should have something in our bylaws. I don't know, we have to draft a separate bylaw, but we can certainly talk to Mr. Eno about that, as both of us are board members. About how we do that in our community, how we put that together. And it might be something, that we have to put in our zoning.
Right.
And because he's redrafting zoning, he should be putting it in the zoning already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and I think if we can revisit that probably, while it's top of mind within the next 2 to 3 months. And my personal view is that new towers that are coming into a residential area, like even A80 where there's residences around, should be not less than 1,000 meters away from any house.
We should, sorry.
And having said that, if a developer buys a tract of land and there's already a cell tower and they wanna develop houses around it, I don't have any concern with that, cause people know that it's there already, but
Yeah.
to site a new tower close to a residence, it must be at least 1,000 meters away. But, like you said, there's lots of land in
Yeah.
West St. Paul, there's a lot of areas to choose from.
Councilor Bichette?
Well, Mr. Eno is redoing the zoning, so I think this is one of the comments we should add, as we have to answer those questions he gave us on that. This should be one that we put up and not wait for the next one to come up,
It's
so.
a good idea,
Mhm.
it's a good idea.
Councilor, can I just wanna, so what's the 1,000 meters that?
A kilometer.
Yeah, no, I know, but does they have to give notice for 1,000 meters, or should it be 1,000 meters away from the house?
Yeah, it should be ideally anything closer than 1,000 meters, like if it's 999 meters, then they have to come through the formal process of
Oh, okay. Or,
to us.
or anything within that 1,000 meter circle of the, that's when they gotta come to council,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm just throwing out a number, but it could be anything. It could be
Well, we gotta, yeah.
750 or 1,000, what's
Put
reasonable?
it there.
Yeah.
No, leave it there. What's the difference that
Yeah.
it's gotta come to us? We should be making the
Yeah.
decisions.
Well, we should start somewhere, and if they want us to come down, then we can come down, because it's harder to go up than it is. That's why I said that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, if council wishes, I can read the proposed resolution.
By all means, please do.
Be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul submit opposition to the proposed location of the proposed wireless communications installation at 1201 Miller Road. And further, that council request Roger Communications Inc. to select a location at the eastern area of 1201 Miller Road. So
For
if
the
we
most
can-
easterly, most
at
easterly,
the-
I think that adjective is important.
most easterly
Or-
portion.
Or relocate the
Yeah,
tower.
or
Of Miller
relocate
Way.
entirely.
or
Yeah, or relocate entirely.
choose. And, okay, let me just wordsmith a bit more.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience.
That's right.
Okay.
I think we could add, or relocate to an area, not in proximity to residents.
We have to give a number.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I think that's something we have to do another
Yeah, we have to
resolution
do
as
it
part of
another
this
time,
that
yeah.
goes to the Red River Planning to Mr. Eno
Yeah,
to
yeah.
add into our zone, the updating of the zoning.
Yeah.
Or we could just put, we're finding a new location.
Actually, we can find a new location not less than 1,000 meters away from the nearest residence.
Yeah, there you go.
You getting all that, Lainey?
Yeah. Excuse me. There seems to be some curse words from the gallery.
What?
No? I must have misheard.
No, I didn't hear anything, Lee.
No.
Okay.
Who is you talking?
Okay.
Not you guys.
Okay. Okay. Be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul submit opposition to the location of the proposed wireless communications installation at 1201 Miller Road as presented, and further that council request Rogers Communications Inc. to select a location at the most easterly portion of 1201 Miller Road, or choose an alternate location for the proposed wireless communication installation.
No, we
Or-
wanted to add.
Or, pardon me, or choose an alternate location not less than,
1,000
not
meters.
more than, no,
Not
pardon me,
less than.
not
So
less than
than
1,000 meters from
Any residence.
any residence.
That's a good motion, because it's saying to them that they can still go on Miller Road if they go to the easterly portion, and if that doesn't work for them, then just find another location. So, I'd like to move, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
Okay, can I call for a mover, please? Councilor
So moved.
Paxton moves, can I have a seconder, please? Councilor Clyber seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, call for the
No, I
vote.
just want
Oh,
to say
sorry.
thank you very much for that motion, and for council colleagues, Mr. Mayor, for doing that. And just, I want to recognize the Lewicks who are going to be adversely affected should the tower be erected at that location, and for their advocacy on this issue. Appreciate that very much. I know they've been active on social media, so it's been good to bring that issue out and make sure that not only yourselves, but your immediate neighbors and the RM is aware of it as well. So we're happy to deal with this.
And
Thank you.
you're Mr. Lewick. Thank you very much for bringing it forward, appreciate it. Yep. Okay, any other comments? None? Okay, could I call for the vote, please? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? None. Carried. Okay, next we go down to 14.2, the West St. Paul's Parents Advisory Council Trail System. They have a letter here. I guess I'll just ask if anyone has any questions or comments. Councilor Pactican?
No.
Oh, sorry. Bruschetti?
Yeah.
Sorry, Bruschetti.
I just have some comments, like the school has approached us, other committees have approached us, now PAC is approaching the council for a project that we had trails running, the RM had trails running along the highway.
Mhm.
It's the province that's destroyed them in their highway expansion project. So, for them to keep writing out letters to the RM, which we have no property left on there, and we have to go for approval to the province if we were to do anything on there. And on some of the areas, there's not even enough room left between the highway expansion into private property.
Yes,
So, can we write a letter back to PAC instead of them, or that all those committees were coming back to us, maybe approaching the province in their next phase of the highway expansion, including the trail system to be included in their restructuring?
yes.
Because it keeps coming to us, and I'm sure we're all getting calls and emails, and it's out of our control. We have to ask them for permission for us to put them there. So it would just be easier if they design it with the trails back in place, so.
Councillor Clyburn?
Oh, I've prepared some remarks. Here I go. It's clear to me this is a school division issue, not a municipal issue. The letter identifies safety issues for an evacuation route for students during, say, a lockdown or a fire, and that is a school issue. The municipality has a trail system across the street. It's for walking and recreational purposes. This trail system is used and was used by the school as late as Halloween, where a couple hundred students walked across the street and went over to the Middle Church home to visit residents. So I want to remind the people that are writing us this letter, in West St. Paul, 66% of your tax bill is going to the school division, who are supposed to be using those monies for education and safety of our students, while 33% of our tax bill goes to municipality for services within the community. I hear their concerns, but the school division has refused to contribute a penny to this particular safety concern for students. That to me is unacceptable. Residents in our community have been forced to send their children elsewhere because the school is full, and we only have one public school. And they continue to pay school taxes even though their children are going other places. And the school division announced that they're going to increase the taxes, and yet they're refusing to contribute any money to this trail, ultimately for the safety of the students. Now, under educational law, which we all had to take as teachers, and I'm a retired teacher, there is a thing called in loco parentis, which means you stand in the place of the parent, and the school division is standing in the place of the parent. And they should be doing this trail if it's a safety concern. So the question for me is, when this trail was being ripped up by Manitoba Infrastructure, just like Councillor Bichetti said, why didn't they replace it? Why didn't the former mayor make them replace it? Why, why didn't it go into our budget right before the election? Because I don't believe that this is a municipal issue. Parents need to go and see the trustee board member. They need to advocate the school board. Our trustees should be asking for a commitment of monies for this safety issue. We can certainly collaborate with them, but why doesn't the school board consider this enough of a safety issue to protect the students? It's a safety issue. Yes, I agree. But we're paying you money, a lot of money, in our taxes, and you should be taking that money and protecting our students. Council made their decision regarding this item for the budget. My personal opinion is the school needs to take care of their own issues, and the school division. And they're paid very, very nicely by our taxpayers. Our taxpayers are already paying them, and I don't believe taxpayers should pay twice. So we're gonna pay them as a school division, and then we're gonna pay them through services, and we should take the money from services to put the trail in. I don't believe that's fair. I think the school division needs to review this again and commit to some monies for this trail if they truly believe that this is important to protect their students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else have anything else to say? Councillor Blackstone?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I agree with my colleagues' remarks, and this letter is, I guess the silver lining of this letter is that it provides visibility to the issue, to the council and publicly to the residents of West St. Paul. And you know what, yes, it is a safety issue, and would the trails be great to have reinstalled? Absolutely, and I think that the Parent Advisory Council does need to advocate on their behalf to the province of Manitoba, to their MLA, and knock on their door, because that's really the government that's responsible for reviewing this. We're certainly a partner in it in terms of providing our advocacy as well to the issue, and say that we support them in terms of their desire for more safety and rejuvenation of the trails that were taken away from the expansion of Highway number 9. We're certainly on board with that. I don't think anyone's against that. And again, I just want to thank them because it does provide good visibility to this issue and allows us to speak about it and to advocate on their behalf as well.
Anyone else? Okay. So is there any actions that we as a council should be taking? Should we be generating a letter, or what's the consensus here? I mean, we spoke about it. I think you mentioned some, go ahead, Councillor Bichetti.
I'd like to see a letter sent back that, from council stating that, you know, we are in support of the trail system going back there, but it's the, you know, that they should be contacting their MLA and speaking with the province, whatever department is involved in the highway expansion, and asking them to design it with the trail system installed in there. It doesn't always have to fall on us, so, you know, if they can push at the same time, we're in support of that trail system being there. We had it there once.
Mhm.
But right now, we're at a point where there's no property left where we can ask the province for permission. Right now, we'd have to go from homeowner to homeowner asking for easements.
Yeah.
And there could be monies involved there, cause we could have 10 people say yes, one says no, and then they say, yes, we'll sign it if we get this dollar amount to come through our yard. So it's gonna take some push from all sides, but it'd be good to see this group contacting their MLA and going publicly with that instead
And the
of
Board of Trustees.
coming at us, yeah.
The Board of Trustees at the school division. You know, that there's like 10 people there, go and advocate to them. There has to be some commitment, like, there has to be something from the school division saying, yes, we think this is important enough that we're gonna contribute some money to.
I think the letter should state that, we are in support of having this, but it doesn't all fall on the municipal shoulders to put this involved. There's other departments that have say in this, so.
Yep.
And I believe when we did get the easements, when we put those trails in initially, highways did have it in their easements stating that once future expansions happen, there might be disruption in the trail system, so. If I'm not mistaken.
I mean, and the province of Manitoba does have the power of expropriation. I mean, if it's important to them, they can certainly expropriate lands. Like, they don't have to take big swaths of land, they can take little slivers of land, and they can make it happen. When, in the city of Winnipeg, when we were doing rapid transit, we expropriated land down Donald, like the Midtown Bridge, if you recall driving down there now, it's a much smaller driveway than when it was before the rapid transit corridor was built. So, I mean, the province does have the power of expropriation, and they can certainly do that.
Okay, so I guess we'll, I don't know, I'm gonna ask the assistant
You don't
acting
have to do it
CEO.
right now.
Yeah, it doesn't.
No, I mean,
But she could draft a
I've
reply.
noted the comments.
Yeah.
Okay, and then maybe by next committee, the committee of the whole meeting, have it something ready by then?
Update.
Is that great enough for everybody?
Sure.
Yeah.
To give her some time?
Even
on it?
just an update, yeah, just.
Update.
Yeah, well, I think we should know what she says, right, so that
Yep.
we're all talking the same thing, because,
But I believe this year Highways isn't even doing the expansion, they're going into public consultation this year.
Yeah.
So this is a good time to get them involved before the consultations happen.
Right.
okay.
There's an election.
Yeah, right, I did wanna say that.
So next on the agenda is Minister of Natural Resources and Northern Development, receive for information, have a letter. Does anyone have any comments on it or questions about it? Hearing none, okay, so we'll go to the next one. 15, which is 15.1, which is the 2022 surplus appropriation to reserves. There's the administration report. There's a resolution. Let's read the resolution first. Okay, whereas the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul has established reserve funds for specific purposes, and whereas for the period ending December 31st, 2022, the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul realized an operating surplus in the general operating fund. Now therefore be it resolved that the following amounts arising from the general operating fund surplus totaling 1.6 million be transferred into the following reserves. 400,000 into Public Works Building Reserve, 200,000 into general reserve fund, 30,000 into IT reserve, bylaw number 2013-22, equipment replacement reserve, bylaw number 2019-10, 170,000, fire hall equipment reserve, bylaw number 2015 I should say, -01, 200,000, and administrative building reserve, bylaw 2013-15, 600,000. Could I have a mover, please? Councilor Shetty moves, can I have a seconder? Councilor Paxton seconds it. Anyone got any comments, questions? Councilor Kleiber?
I'm just wondering, who allocated these reserves? Is this from our CFO?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a couple questions for you. I see there's a big amount here for the administration building. One of my concerns is, we do have a water cell coming, or a water reservoir coming. Our reserves are 4.3 for that, and we're supposed to have 5 million for that. There's nothing here allocated to it.
No, so the water reserve is funded via ERUs sold. It's always been funded that way, so as we have new hookups or developments, developers or property owners are required to purchase an ERU. Our current price is $4,500 for an ERU, so anyone wishing to hook up to water, upon approval, they're required to pay that. That's what has funded that water reserve in the past.
Okay, and are we gonna make it for next year if we get a water?
There's the possibility, yeah. Don't forget there's also interests that are applied to those reserves as well annually, based on what we receive in our account,
Yeah, but I don't think it's gonna be $700,000.
right?
If we wanna go through with that water cell, I'm just wondering if we can allocate to that.
So what we could do is, we could drain the water reserve when the time comes, and council can also approve an allocation from one of the other reserves, such as capital or general.
Okay. The other question that I had, why are we putting so much into the administration building?
I'm not aware of how much a building is going to cost. We do have in our capital approvals for this year on our budget, a purchase of land of 500,000. Once that land is purchased, I'm assuming council's gonna go forward with the future plans of a new administration building. If we are able to pay for these projects instead of borrowing, we will not be affecting our mill rate.
Okay, and how
In
much is
that.
in the reserve currently? I see $1 million already in reserve.
Yeah, I believe it's roughly about that. Just give me one second. It's right on.
That's what I have on your balance sheet.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering if we put more into some of our equipment replacement and fire hall, because I see that we have pumper coming up on the 5-year plan too.
Mhm. Yep.
So I'm wondering
We
if we
can.
can put some more into the fire hall equipment reserve.
So these are 2020. Sorry, this is 2022. We'll have possibly a surplus in 2023, depending on what our supplemental taxes are. At that point, we can then bump up our fire tanker.
So-
Now, just because we're purchasing those assets doesn't necessarily mean they have to be paid through these reserves. They can be a combination of, right? So we could take funds out of the fire hall / equipment replacement reserve plus capital development to pay for those items.
Yeah, but we can only take so much out of capital too, right?
Nope,
No? We're
no,
not limited?
it's for capital items, yeah.
Okay. I'd like to see more go into the fire hall equipment reserve, because they always seem to have something that we have to fund, right?
Everybody does, right?
Yeah, there's always something, always come to council with something.
Yeah.
The other question that I wondered about on this was, in 2021 and 2020, our statements came in late, and we had allocated the reserves ahead of time. And then when we did the audited statement, we kind of got an item that had to go backwards. and we ended up with a deficit.
Oh, you're talking about the 72,000
Yeah.
deficit, so that is actually related to grant funding
Yeah, so
for
I'm
the
wondering if we
EAMS.
allocate the reserves after your audited statement.
We can't, because the audit is based on 2022, right? So they have to be done at time before audit, before the auditors come in.
Okay, and so what if we are short again? Like,
I don't
let's say
foresee we
something
will be.
happens and we're, do you foresee any,
Not this
journal
year, no.
entries that would mess up the financial statements at this point?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Councillor Campbell?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up what Councillor Kleiber had said. So I saw also the pumper truck. I'm surprised that we're already allocating, $500,000 almost for a pumper truck again, where the two that we have are relatively new. I'm not sure what's your thoughts on that, Councillor Kleiber? I don't know how many years it was before we got a new one last time, and now we're gonna have 3 new ones within a.
So generally what they do is they decommission and replace. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head what years they are. I'd have to look in my asset planning.
Yeah, they're fairly new.
Now
from
this
that.
is, it's not, like I said earlier, the 5-year plan is not set in stone. It is subject to change. And as mentioned, council would like to have input into it. So going forward, when we're reviewing next year's budget, we'll definitely bring that to the table.
Okay, Councillor Bichetti?
I'm good with leaving that in the administration building for the simple reason is this building's not getting any newer. You know, we're not looking at building a new building next year or in the next 3 years. That's a time, it's gonna take time, and the longer we take to do that, the more it's gonna cost. I would just hate to have to put a big expense into this building. You know, if we gotta start doing a roof or start doing anything majorly structural, and we're not prepared for the next level. So I'm good at leaving it in there. Land's not getting any cheaper, so at least we're getting one step farther ahead to, well, how's the staff that we're talking about, you know, hiring more staff and putting them in offices, and, you know, even us, as council, as we're meeting residents, you know, we're going to their homes or we're meeting somewhere else. It'd be nice to be prepared for the future of the expansion of West St. Paul and have an office for, you know, one office for council to meet, just to meet residents, so I'm good at leaving it in there.
There?
Anyone else? Councillor Kleiber?
Yeah, just regards to administration building, it's been assumed we're gonna build new. We haven't had that discussion with this council yet. So I think that's a discussion we should have. I would just say we've got things that are more urgent sometimes first than we do building a new building. I understand we have to do we wanna do the land, we're talking about the land, but we'll talk about that as a group. But we have to decide whether or not we want a new building, that's one thing, new land. The other thing is I'm wondering, Public Works Building Reserve 400,000, is that for the current project?
It's for a current project and a future project that they are proposing to expand their office space.
So I see in the 5-year plan, they wanna spend $1 million on office space now.
To expand their office space, larger lunchroom, more bathroom facilities.
I know, I have a wish list too, but
Yeah, like,
that doesn't mean that I'm gonna get it. I mean, we just spent $1 million for them to expand the building.
their garage, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And now they want another $1 million for an office, for offices and lunchrooms.
That's what their future proposal
Okay,
is,
well, I think
yeah.
the administration building would come first, not the PW building with more lunchrooms. Okay, well, if council is okay with this, I would like to see more go into I'd like to see at least another 100,000 go into the fire hall. And drop the amendment down to 500 if council would be amenable to that. Just because I think we're gonna need it.
No, I would. What does council say? Drop it by 500, drop it to 500,000 and put another 100,000 into the fire hall? Guys in favor of it, or not? I'm not hearing anything.
I'm just looking at the numbers the way.
Oh, okay.
Just trying to look at it too. What's the time sensitivity, through you, Mr. Mayor, to the finance, Director of Finance, what's the time sensitivity here?
I need to know now so I can finish 2022. Yeah. So this, if I can't do this, I cannot get our auditors in to audit.
It's not a big shift, it's $100,000 moving from one to the fire department, because they're always coming with equipment.
So-
charge.
Councillor Bichetti, go ahead.
So that's why I'd like to see a little bit more in there.
Go ahead, Councillor Bichetti.
So, I really don't wanna drop the admin, but why don't we pull 50 from admin and 50 from Public Works? Then it's $100,000 that we've dropped there,
Sure,
which
I'm
we're
okay with
saying
that.
Public Works is not, the number one priority. I just don't wanna drop admin, it's getting more expensive every year to buy land, build, and if we're gonna do it, there's not much land left.
Yeah, I'm okay with
It's
that.
front and center, so.
The fire equipment replacement fund is down to $69,000, so I would like to see it, if we put 300 in there, that's a good buffer.
Councillor, go ahead.
Yeah, so just an additional comment for administration. This year, we have approximately $40,000 planned to repair a few items within our admin building. We have to replace the carpets in front. It's starting to become a tripping hazard for our staff. We are replacing our doors as the lock latch is not working properly, especially in the wintertime. As well as we're putting in handy, accessible buttons for the bathrooms. So.
We've already budgeted that.
Right, so that's, I'm just saying, like, we're already investing approximately $40,000 into this building this year, and it's only gonna get more expensive as
So we
it
move some
ages.
from Public Works, $50,000 and $50,000 for admin into fire hall.
Mhm.
Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that, if that's council's will.
Rest of council okay with that?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Can I call for the vote, please? All in
We need,
favor?
we need an amending motion.
As
Okay,
amended.
sorry,
As amended.
go ahead.
No,
Just who was
i- if the mover and the seconder are in agreement,
Who was the mover in the second?
Okay, yeah.
yourself,
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
good with
you
that,
and-
yeah.
Yeah, okay, okay, we're good then.
Yep.
You can call it.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? None? Carried. So that was, transfer of funds. Okay. Remember 15.3, we're at 15.3.
15-2, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, 52, yeah. There's two almost called the same thing. there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I did the same thing.
Yes, right, okay. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West St. Paul authorize the transfer of $5 million from general bank account to the reserve bank account. Could I have a mover, please? Councilor Bichetti moves,
Second.
Councilor Campbell seconds. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None? Carried. 15.3, access member rewards. What is- This is for information? Yes. Any comments or questions on this, council? None? Okay. Carry on to 15.4. Administration report, fee charges and bylaws. Be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul accept the amendments of Schedule A for the fees and charges bylaw 2016-08 as presented. Could I have a mover, please? Councilor Clyburn moves. Can I have a seconder, please? Councilor Patcan seconds it. Got any questions or comments on this one, anyone?
I do.
Councilor Clyburn, go ahead.
I'm the commenter tonight. Okay, proposed changes. Who came up with these proposed changes to the access center?
It was a combination of myself and our Director of Recreation.
Okay, there's some very substantial change here. I'm gonna look at, when I look at social event, 2,800 to 3,200, that's an increase of $400. And when I look at the non-resident rate, it goes from 3,000 to 4,000, it's $1,000 that you're raising it. Why are you raising it so substantially?
To cover costs as well as, I guess, the repairs and maintenance on the building. socials, activities like that do take a toll on our rec facility.
Okay,
In my report, it costs us approximately, what did it say, $116 an hour to operate our facility. That includes all staff, all general maintenance, water, sewer, those items. Our social is an all-inclusive package. A lot of areas charge you for the hall, and then they charge you for your security, they charge you for your bartenders, your ice, your cups, your pop. Ours includes all of those.
are we in keeping with other areas? Have you checked other areas to see that?
Our
these
rec
rates are-
director has, yes.
They're comparable?
Yeah, so
Okay.
East St. Paul, for example, I believe they charge about $1,500 just for the hall rental. Plus
Because
their
when-
security, plus bartender, plus cups, ice, pop.
They have a corkage fee.
Yeah,
So when I look at the current schedule, and I see $2,800 moved up to $3,200, that's $400 increase. But when I see the non-resident, it's almost $1,000.
The majority of our-
It's not in keeping with what the incrementals that we had before.
right. The majority of our rentals are external. It's not rented, a whole lot from, West St. Paul residents. So if we can make some money off of the external people and they're still willing to come and book our facility, and we can fund our facility, our maintenance, our other programs, I don't see an issue with that, right?
I just don't
The
wanna
facility's really for our residents to enjoy and have their programming and
Yeah.
events
I
there.
just don't want us pricing ourselves out of the ballpark.
I don't believe we are.
Because when I look at the wedding rentals, the non-resident goes from $3,500 to $4,200, it's a $700 increase. That's substantial. $700 increase.
Right. In the last 5 years, I believe we've had one wedding rental at our access center.
Okay. When I go down to gym rental for day events, you had a day rate, basic gym rental, I think there was a day rate here. Okay, mezzanine rental, day rate of $275, and now we're going per hour. Why are we changing to per hour now?
It's a smaller location. Not many people rent the mezzanine, and they're not there for a full day, right? If people
So they
are,
don't- It's not renting?
not usually, no. The mezzanine is normally used with whatever event is occurring inside the gym area as well.
Okay. Now I have some questions just about the Winnipeg utility buy-in charge.
Yep.
Excuse me, Councilor
And,
Carver, Councilor Carver, excuse me.
Yeah.
I think you wanted to make you had something to say, Councilor Carver?
Yeah, but I think she's still talking about the access center, aren't you? Or is
No,
that- is this a
I
different
kinda
item
went
now?
through the access center from what my concerns were, but go ahead
Okay,
first.
yeah, not to interrupt you, so I wouldn't mind seeing, like, cause probably our biggest competitor would be Red River Community Center.
No. I'm gonna say right now, they're not. They're half the size of us.
But that place is booked like solid, so I would
Not-
just like to see
Not in the
what they
last
charge
few
for-
weekends that I've gone by, like, it's pretty dead there. I haven't seen a social there in a long, long time, and we're booked almost every weekend, sometimes Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, I
So-
just, like I said, I didn't wanna price ourselves out, so we have vacancy, you know, the goal is not to have vacancies, obviously, cause, then no matter what you're charging, you're not.
So, sorry, are you?
Well, I'll let you go ahead.
Okay, so what I was gonna say is, we'll bump up the rate. It may weed out a couple, but with that bumped up rate, we're still gonna see the revenues where they are. It's more of, so that we don't have the constant bang, bang, bang on our facility with the maintenance, the repairs, staffing it that late in the evening, running our machines to clean the floors later, like, that's all, it all adds up from there, right? So the view is if we can increase our rate to be competitive with other facilities, like I said, it's an all-in-one package with our rental. It doesn't matter how many cups or bottles of pop or ice you use, it's one cost. It may minimize or slow down the social rental, but we won't see a decrease in the revenues that we're receiving, right? So they'll offset each other.
We also, I'll just add too, is if a sort of, if I'll take the liberty of saying a smaller social would maybe be better suited to like that RRCC, might choose that venue, but we also wouldn't have the expense of the security and bartenders, et cetera. So the revenue matches the expenses as well, right?
Yeah,
Just from my point of view, I would, you know, I would like someone, whether it's Demare or someone, just to spend a couple hours and give us a report of the ones that are in, you know, whatever kilometer area, just, you know, if they have a corkage fee, et cetera. I'd like to see that. I think it'd be a good exercise so that we're all aware, not just people making guesses or people saying, hey, we have called them.
Mhm.
I think if it's on paper, then everybody knows and it's there.
Yeah, we do have that information. That is how we prepared our fees, based on what other
Yeah,
areas
that-
are charging.
That should have been with this then, in my opinion.
Okay.
I agree.
Councillor Shetty?
So why don't we just table this for next meeting and you can attach that comparison chart to this so we can actually see other community centers
Mhm.
around us.
Yeah, we can do that.
And like the increments, like you've gone from 2,800 for residents and then 3,000 for non-residents. Now we're going from 3,200 to 4,000. It's a
Right.
huge increase between the two. I'd like to see the increments stay comparable. So
Okay.
if you're going up $200 from the resident to the non-resident, then go up $200. But you've got some here that are $700 higher.
Right, so you don't wanna, like I said earlier, the facility is for West St. Paul,
It is.
right? So we don't wanna price out our own residents from using the facility.
No.
We
but
wanna
what if they're
keep
not
those
using it at
rentals
all?
within our area.
Yeah, but we don't wanna, we don't wanna price it so high nobody will come use it.
Right, keep in mind that these rates have not been updated since 2016,
That's what it is.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, 'cause I always wanted to see that.
we're due for an increase.
Yeah, okay.
So then
But
we'll,
let's see the paperwork, I think that's a great idea.
so we'll table this till next meeting?
Yeah,
Which-
so,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. So what I will do is I will pull the data, I will compare it to what one of our socials cost. I can do a smaller one and a larger one and compare, the expenses and revenues.
It's gotta be comparable size to what we're talking, like, so no, it's gotta be comparable size to. this.
Which there's not many.
Okay,
There's not many that can hold 500 plus people.
Yeah,
okay.
So,
but use ones in our, like Red River, East St. Paul.
Yeah, I think Red River is about 300
Yeah.
people.
That's what it is.
Bronx is, I think, about the same, about 300 or 400 people. East St. Paul might be comparable to us.
so how long do you need to get all this ready for?
We can have it for the next meeting.
The cow meeting or the red cow meeting? Okay.
If we could just say table to a future meeting and then.
Oh, future
gives
meeting?
us a
Okay.
bit of flexibility.
Before we table anything, could I just ask, questions on page 6?
Is it
And
really?
that's the sewer and water. So
Can
that
we
if
put-
we table it, then we can give her instruction on that as well if we need to. I
pa-
just want you to explain something to me. I looked at the Winnipeg utility buy-in charge, and, there are huge increases here.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering why they're so large, like, we go from a 2-inch water meter, $15,000 to $25,000.
The city, the city of Winnipeg sets those rates.
Okay, so this is not in our hands.
No,
This
no.
is huge.
Yeah, I agree. We don't have, I think we have two 2-inch meters within the RM.
Okay,
And I believe, one of them, I believe, is across the street. And there is one more,
what is the average that we're seeing, 5 and 8?
5/8.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
the city has now bumped that up to $3,100.
Yeah, so they increased it every year.
Wow.
It's an annual increase. The last time they sent us rates was, I believe it was 4 years ago. They will be sending us new rates later this year, I'm hoping. In my conversations with them, they said they'll be doing their next 4 or 5 year rate plan later this year. But yeah, they increase annually every year about 2.5%, 3%.
So we're not driving any of these proposed changes?
No.
Wow.
No, the only one that we are requesting here for the RM is, the bump up of the sewer permit by $50. And then an additional inspection of $100. So we've had a few cases where our utility staff have had to go in and re-inspect 3 times because the meter is not in properly or the curb stop's not visible or whatnot, and that takes away from their other duties, so.
Great, okay, good, thanks for the explanation.
Councilor Campbell?
Just a quick question, when are those changes supposed to go into effect? the
As
proposed
soon
changes?
as this is accepted by council.
So like tonight?
No,
But we're.
because we're gonna
we're
table it.
We're
Tabling it, yeah.
Okay,
So,
Councilor-
I mean, my suggestion would be May 1st, right, if we were to go forward with it today.
Councilor?
Okay.
Okay, so we're tabling 15.4 then, right?
So just for a question for CFO again, these rates that the Winnipeg, City of Winnipeg's imposing on us, when do they take effect?
January 1st.
Of this year?
Yeah, they're
Already
already,
in effect.
they're already in effect, yeah, as per our agreement,
Yeah.
January 1st, their rates change and we follow suit, we
You're
have
just
to.
informing us basically on this one. Okay, good, thank you.
Just, Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
is it possible, because it doesn't seem like there's a concern with the balance, other than the social events? So maybe can we just table the social event, increase and then the rest can go forward? Can we not do that?
I think we
Can
should
do
just
that.
table the whole thing.
No, we should. Because
Well-
we only have concerns with the social.
I have concerns with the first 3.
Yeah, the social.
Well, how about everything with
The event,
access
the
center?
wedding planner, the thing there.
Yep, just the act,
The access center fees regarding the social events, the wedding rentals,
We can bring the entire access schedule to a future meeting.
okay.
And-
If council's
and go
willing
through-
to-
and
to-
I don't have a problem with the rest of
The
it,
balance
because
should go
it's,
forward, because I mean,
yeah.
why wait?
So the balance.
So the
being-
event rentals, all 4 of them?
We'll-
Social,
we'll-
wedding and
Counselor
meeting?
Kleiber will remove the access schedule entirely and
okay.
revisit the entire schedule
Okay,
at a future meeting.
okay, that's fair, I can do that.
that whole first section.
Okay.
So what's the motion? Is it, as amended?
As amended,
As
please.
amended.
So what, okay,
Removing the access center schedule for another meeting, and then the balance will go forward.
so what about the charges from the city of Winnipeg, is that part
We
of
have
it?
no, we have no.
You have a
say in that.
recourse on that.
That's their charge.
That's their charges.
So, okay, so I just
Yeah.
gotta make sure I got this straight here, so 15.3 is basically the access center, right?
Yeah,
So 15.4, what's 15.4? Is that the,
Oh, no.
No,
It's all 15.
no, sorry.
it's all 15.3? Okay, I just
No.
wanna make,
No, 15.4.
15.4 is, you have a resolution on the floor. We are going to amend the schedule presented by removing
Okay.
the access center fees,
okay,
okay?
perfect, okay.
To a future meeting.
To
Not
To a
future
removing
future,
them, but
to a
removing-
future meeting. So they will remain as is until we amend at a future meeting.
Okay,
okay,
good.
excellent,
Awesome.
thanks for that.
Okay,
Call for the vote?
can I call for the vote as amended?
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None carried. So I guess, one thing we have our guest here today that was meeting with us at 7, so we're gonna go in camera.
Oh, we've only got one more item left, don't we, before we go in camera?
Yeah, let's just finish it up.
If you like,
We've got the kids' sport?
Is
I
that
think-
all right?
I
question.
think we can finish it up,
We can
yeah.
finish it.
Okay, so then we'll finish it up then, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul provide a grant in the amount of X amount of dollars to Kids Sports Canada, Manitoba Fund. Could I have a mover, please?
I'll second.
Oh, Councilor Shetty moves, Councilor Campbell seconds it. Got any comments, questions?
So we're doubling, I would just ask the mayor, we're doubling our contribution from 500 to 1,000 this year?
it is council's discretion.
Oh, okay.
I will say, per the administration report, council has historically sponsored up one youth in Kids Sport funding.
Okay.
Kids Sport has requested funding for 2 youth, which would equal $1,000 this year. So it's council's discretion which amount to.
Does this stay in the community?
Yes, it's for West St. Paul.
Okay.
Should that not say it in here that it's for West St. Paul? I didn't see it in here because I was gonna ask.
We can say that in our motion.
I think it should, yeah.
We can say
Yeah.
that in our motions.
Sure.
Okay, so, any other comments, questions?
So we will amend the motion for West St. Paul residents?
Yeah,
Correct.
provide a grant,
To be distributed to a West St. Paul, two West St. Paul
Residents.
kids.
Yeah, residents.
Okay with the amount then?
1,000?
I'm okay with the amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone, all right? Okay. Okay, so I just say as amended.
no, you can just read and then
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay, be it resolved that the Council of Rural Municipality of West St. Paul provide a grant in the amount of $1,000 to Kids Sports Manitoba Fund
For
Two.
two West St.
for
Paul.
2 West St. Paul residents. Can I have a,
I'll move it, Mr. Mayor.
okay,
Second.
okay, Councilor Shetty moves it, back, Pat, sorry.
We have a
Councilor
mover, sorry.
Yeah, we already had a
We
movie.
had a mover, Councilor Bizetti and Councilor
Okay,
Campbell.
that's what I thought.
Shetty. That's right. So, okay, all in,
Call for the question.
you call for the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, none, carried.
Now,
Okay,
go on camera.
yes, now we're going to camera.
We gotta jump
After
ahead.
in camera.
We can have a question period afterwards. Okay. So we're gonna go in camera, be it resolved in accordance with subsection 152 of the Municipal Act, council do now move in camera to discuss matter that is preliminary stages, in its preliminary stages respecting with discussion in public could prejudice a municipality's ability to carry out its activities or negotiations. Be it resolved that in accordance with subsection 83(1)(d) of the Municipal Act, any issues that are discussed are kept confident until discussed at a regular meeting of council. Could I have a mover, please? Councilor Clyburn moves. Could I have a seconder? Councilor Bichetti seconds it. Can I call for the question, for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? None? Carried. Okay, so the Rising report is that we had an update on our collective agreement negotiations with the International Union of Operating Engineers, and we have 2 resolutions to pass. And I will ask that our acting CEO read the resolutions.
Thank you, Council. For CT 3197116, the resolution reads as follows. Be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul authorize the Red River Planning District to proceed with the order to remedy contraventions for CT 3197116 in accordance with Clause 15(2)(b) of the Planning Act, and further be it resolved that the associated remediation costs be paid by the municipality and recovered through provisions of the municipality's General Enforcement Bylaw number 2021-12.
So
Can I have a mover, please? Councilor
Second.
Councilor
Campbell.
Clyburn moves.
moves it. Councilor Bichetti? No, seconds it, right. Any comments, questions? Got comments?
I just wanted to
Councilor Bichetti?
comment that it's, I just have to say it out loud that it's taken Red River Planning so long to get this done. It could have been done at the beginning, and it's bad that a lot of the residents have to go through this with the noise. And I hope that it gets cleared up prior to the peak of summer starting, that they have to sit there listening to trucks driving all night long. And it makes it dangerous.
Okay, we have to be
Online.
careful what we're saying because we've discussed this in
I
camera.
never said any names, any
Okay.
numbers or
All right.
names.
Okay.
Any other comments? None? Could
I agree with you, by the way.
Could I have a call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None? Thank you. Carried. Next resolution, please.
Thank you
So
for
Mayor,
the,
on a in-camera item, we shouldn't be discussing it, once you read the resolution. Should be no discussion. We've discussed it in camera.
It's just a comment, though, when there was nothing
By
said
a
on.
comment that was, you have to be careful with that, though, right, Ms. Shaw?
you have to be careful on in-camera.
Yeah, very careful.
For bylaw enforcement, the resolution reads, whereas the Red River Planning District, RRPD, is currently responsible for enforcement activities with respect to planning bylaws within the rural municipality of West St. Paul, the municipality, and whereas it would be more efficient for RRPD to ensure that all enforcement options are available pursuant to the municipality's general enforcement bylaw, the bylaw, including the ability to add all unpaid enforcement costs to the tax roll. Therefore be it resolved that in accordance with clause 15(2)(b) of the Planning Act, council authorize and delegate authority to the Red River Planning District to utilize the bylaw when enforcing planning bylaws within the municipality.
Could I have a mover, please? Councilor Bichetti
One
moves.
second.
Councilor Campbell seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, none, carried. Next on the agenda is where we left off, and that is
15.6.
15.6, capital budget priorities. You all got your memo, so I guess maybe we'll just have a quick discussion on which ones would you like to see started first, so that we can direct the administration who to direct Public Works and the people responsible for it to start on those first. Go ahead, Councilor Bichetti.
I'd like to see the access trails started. It's right near the bottom. Just, there's work already being done at the access, I keep saying Sonova, but Access
Oh.
Center. So I guess getting that done at the same time as that, so that we don't have construction going on as Tennis Manitoba's opening their site this summer. It'd be nice to get that done sooner than later.
Okay.
And then, the lighting around the pond and the trails development, we're getting to the season where people are gonna be out walking and stuff, and it's, I guess, nicer to get it done at the beginning of the year than the end, so it starts getting used. Those are my two you wanted?
Yeah, two for now, and then we
Okay.
can whittle it down. Go ahead, Councilman.
Hi, I'm just two,
Just two.
I got five.
No, just two. The two.
Two top.
Two
I
top
want
ones.
speed control alert signs, sooner than later.
That's what you want,
I'm
sooner.
waiting 3 years for those, so I
Okay.
would like them.
What next?
And, at the pond too, Councilor Bichetti, but, I'd like to see the pickleball court at the Access Center painted
Pickleball
as
court.
well, sooner than later, because,
What number
there's
is
a lot
that,
of
sorry?
demand for that right now.
What's the number?
PR 27 and CO 20. And CO 20 is still a carryover from last year,
Okay.
so.
Councilor Campbell, do you have anything, or?
Yeah, it's good. Counselor Kleiber took one of mine, so that's good. The alert signs. I'd like to see CO 5 and CO 6. Mm-hmm.
Councilor Paxton?
Yeah, I'd like to see, PR 30, so there's a whole bunch in there, but basically what it is that, we have, I'd like to see these roads, get done in the beginning of the season rather than at the end of the season. Just because I think we get better pricing, and it's better to deal with all these problems now. And then obviously, number 34. It's not a big one, but it's something that's important to pave the way for Mellon Road.
Yeah. I only have 37.
Good, I'm glad you said that, that was one of mine too.
So I guess now we just have to figure out which is the top 5 that we want out of those 5, so. I don't know,
Well, I think that the roads
Go-
are
go straight.
always a priority for us now,
Councilor.
so.
There's a couple things that counselors have asked to happen at Access Center. And the only reason I'm gonna say it again is that I just don't wanna see construction happening there as Tennis Manitoba's trying to open their site up. Cause
Okay.
it sounds like I've already gotten some emails from opening, they have a big thing going on, I believe it's in August. And I just wouldn't wanna see construction happening all around there. And I think some of the asks that are to happen in that area are achievable, just so we don't have construction there.
oh, okay. Do you got numbers for those, or?
26 and 27?
The bike, well, yes, so there's number 5, PR 26.
That's good.
Here, 27.
27, the pickleball area. But I guess the biggest one for the construction is the trails going around Sonova, because you want it to tie in with their system, so.
You want that, okay. So I guess,
Access.
access. So if we had to pick five, which would the five be to start first? Because then the other, they can come back to us and tell us what their plan is for the rest of the stuff and where this incorporates into.
So should we all pick one?
Um,
If we're gonna
Yep,
go five?
yep,
I'll
okay.
say the trails at access,
Which number is that?
26.
PR 26.
26? Okay.
I think we should agree on these. I agree with that one. I also agree with the lighting around the pond, safety issue. That should be done sooner than later. I don't want anybody falling in the pond.
Yeah, we can't get everything all done at once, right? Because the Public Works and they have other stuff that they probably have priorities on too.
Well, the lighting around the pond would be done by electrician. So that
Okay.
would be sub-traded out anyways.
If that's the
That's
case,
not PW.
okay. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for information for council, our Public Works is currently working on the tender for the pavement projects for the year. So that will be out quite soon, and we'll get that
Good.
started as soon as possible.
That
They
takes
were
a
just
whole
waiting
bunch
for
of-
us to approve them.
That's part of, we have to wait until the tax levy bylaw is passed and the financial plan is accepted before we can move on some of these items.
So then that tenders for the pavement is Nautilus on top of the list? 'Cause-
It's
Well,
always
it
on top
happens
of the
at the same
Yeah.
time,
Time.
right? So
Yeah.
that, how, we leave that operationally for them to organize. But we can note that it's a priority.
But
Yeah.
the way it's been done, it's by they'll look at it as by the meter of, that's how they're gonna get their best rates, because they'll probably include that with all our other paving, because the company will know how many meters am I, or however they measure it.
It's a unit price.
Unit price, that's the wording they've used before, so, sorry.
Okay. Councilor Khan?
The roads are always a priority. So roads have always been number one,
They're bread
every
and
time we
butter,
do a
yeah.
budget. That's the first thing that goes.
Well,
So you don't even have to set the priority, it's already set, they just do it.
Good.
Because we wanna do it in the spring, we wanna get it done
Yeah.
quickly. So our public works usually gets that tendered pretty quick.
So one of the things I heard is that, roads always get left to the last because they did homes in October, right?
Yeah,
And
but
that,
homes was provincial.
that's just what I heard, okay? So that's the reference point I'm going from. So I don't want to see Maglis done in October. I'd sooner see it done in April, and every other road can come after that.
But-
And same with Miller Road. This should be done somewhere in May or June to study, so that when we want to start talking about budgets for next year, that we know what the cost of this road is. That's where I see it as. Like, I understand roads get done, but if,
Yeah, but homes was not done by us.
y-
It was done by the province,
Okay.
so we had no control over that.
yeah, I just heard a general comment that,
That's a general comment that didn't know that that was a provincial road.
well, this
So
is.
we actually asked them to do that a long time ago, and then they finally came in and did it. But we had no control over that. Am I
Councilor
correct?
Bichetti.
I
That
think
was a provincial thing.
what it's come down to is the way our tender is. I think if our tender shows, we want a timeline put into it,
Yes,
that our roads aren't left till the end of a season, where if they're busy doing the city of Winnipeg, then they're sending their people to West St. Paul to finish off the streets they're doing.
Right, I would just throw some caution there, if requiring completion dates can affect competitive pricing.
But as the mayor said, I've heard it for years, it's why do they start a project and then it's sitting there, holes are opened, they've been open for 3 months. I don't wanna see West St. Paul as a filler. To a point. But, it's not a small amount that we're putting out this year for a municipality our size. So to add a little bit of, timeline to it, I'm not saying a hard deadline,
note
but I
that.
don't wanna see it done October, November.
I'll note that.
Okay.
Councilor Hagler.
Okay, so coming from the construction industry, I tell you, if somebody gave me a $960,000 job right now, I'd be all over that. So, I don't think we're gonna have problems getting service, because you've got, a large amount, allocated to paving. You've got $1.7 million almost.
So I don't think you're gonna have a problem in that regard. But with any subtrade, and I speak for myself as a subtrade as well, we go in when we can fit you in. If your tender comes in at such and such a time and I have this much work, I still gotta do this much work before I do you. So when you say, oh, I don't wanna be fit in, well, that's just the nature of the beast. You get fit in where the subtrade can fit you in, and if anybody's built a house, they know that's true. If the plumber says he can come Friday, you take Friday. So some of it, you're kind of at the mercy of the subtrade that's doing it, and as Shaw pointed out, if you want them to prioritize it right now, you're gonna have to pay, sometimes you're gonna have to pay more, because
And
they're
I'll-
gonna prioritize you.
I'll add that our tender for the roadworks wouldn't include the testing, that would be outside of that, because it would be done by an engineer.
Yes, no,
Okay.
I know. And I guess I agree with Councilor Bichetti that we should say when we want this done. At least then they know, not that they leave us to the end, and that's what we're looking for.
It's
That's what
noted.
that's what our expectations are, that should be in the thing. So what are the other things that are on the top 5 on the list, so?
I'd say as soon as possible on the paper, that's the best you can do.
Okay.
Just say as soon as possible.
Councilor Campbell, what is it that you?
Well, I think something that's important is to identify, CO6, the business park sign is long overdue.
Yeah, so that's on, okay.
And that's something that takes 2-3 months to get done.
Did we decide what kind of sign that was, Councillor Campbell? Is it like a granite sign or?
Well, I think
No, lit up.
lit up, like a
lit
tall,
up.
it has to be a tall lit up sign or else it's gonna
There's
get
power
lost.
right there, there's a box, sorry to bug you, there's already a box put there for the power for where that sign's supposed to go.
Okay.
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, Councilor Campbell, sorry.
Yeah, I'm torn between the digital sign for the administration building and the underground sprinklers. I'm not sure, but,
we'll have to do that now,
yeah, those are like, the underground sprinklers are pretty critical.
Yeah,
But the
well,
only thing is, I'm thinking with, how would that affect the timing and the usage of fields?
yeah.
Councilor, go ahead.
The underground sprinklers will have to wait until all sports are finished, so they're about
Be fall.
August or so. Yeah.
Okay, so then we have time, then we could probably do the digital sign for the admin building, we could move on that.
What number, oh, that's number 8?
Yeah,
Okay,
those are high profile things we wanna see happen.
okay.
I think Crystal will do the number 34 on cyber test, no problem.
Which one is that?
Number 34.
Can I add a comment to that?
Go ahead.
When we look
I
at
can do
that
it for you.
sign,
I'll do
Sorry,
it for
Mike.
you. Sorry.
when we do that, can we put a big address on it, please?
Yes.
'Cause
Yes, yes.
people around here, I have the business close to here, and it's, where's the municipal office? Where's the municipal office? It's,
355.
Yes.
There's nowhere to be
So what
seen.
was your answer?
Our previous sign did
Trails.
have the date,
Okay.
the address
and
it was
trails.
up.
Oh, yeah.
Where's the blue flag?
A lot of people get confused because our driveway access is off of Grassmere, right? It's
Yeah.
not off of Main Street.
Councilor Kleiber, what was your ask? Your one ask?
I actually, I wanted the lighting around the pond. Did somebody mention that? I mentioned that.
You mentioned.
I mentioned that. I think that's a safety issue that we have to get on as quickly as we
Okay,
can.
what number?
PR 32.
PR 32.
Okay,
I don't want my staff falling in the pond.
so, 1, 2, 3, 1.
And we have staff living in that area,
So-
so I don't want them falling in the
Chased by
pond.
coyotes.
So CO6, CO8,
Okay, so, sorry, CO6 and CO8?
yep, PR 26, PR 30,
26.
yeah, PR 32,
CO6, CO8, PR, sorry,
32,
32, yeah,
and PR 37.
and PR 37, so that'll be part of the roads.
Yeah, I know, but like I
Right.
said, it's,
They're
Top
not
of
gonna
list.
come and do one and come back and do the others, it's
Can't do
all,
everything.
So lump sum.
all at once.
Do something else besides that one.
well, as long as they get that on top, I understand that, of
That's
course.
what they're doing that, they're gonna do that for us.
Well, I'll just keep it at that, that's what I want.
Okay.
That's my thing. I know that it is, but, you know, when they start the roads, to me, that's what they should be starting first. So I guess the thing I'm asking is that, we wanna make sure that this gets finished this year, so I'm just gonna leave it with the staff on, come back with us on these 5, when they're gonna start, and then come back. I'd like to see a plan put in place, when they think they're gonna start on all of these, because they're not gonna start everything at once, they're gonna have to do it all in stages, so, and then bring it back, if you could bring it back to council so that we can see what it is and then discuss it further. And maybe, you know, make sure you assign it to someone that it's right if, I might not have, but, okay. Go ahead.
So all the projects have been assigned to the departments.
Okay.
Some of them are already in the works.
Okay,
We will have monthly reporting with our monthly financial statements going forward.
Okay.
I heard that from council that they'd like to know what's going on with our projects, so I will be presenting monthly reports as to how much we've spent and where we're at with the projects as well that
Yeah.
have been.
Is it possible to do it when they think that it's gonna end?
Yeah, I can talk to the department heads and get estimated dates as well.
Are you familiar with the term a Gantt chart?
Sorry,
Yeah.
yes, I've heard of it, but I've
Yeah.
never used one.
No, I think they use it, I believe they use it in construction. So basically, it just lines out, you know, all the steps, what the date, the timelines they figure it's gonna be, the dates. I don't know, that might be too complicated, but just as long as you say, when do they start and when do they think it's gonna end, their plan, just so we have an idea, not that, okay.
The projected delivery date.
Okay, projected delivery, sorry.
So,
Councilor Shetty.
sorry, so everything's gonna coincide with these codes now that are on the side of,
Mhm.
Yeah.
okay, just to
So
clarify that.
basically, for your monthly report, you'll get this, but there'll be a couple more columns added on that'll show what we spent and what's remaining in budget.
Okay.
Okay, good.
And then I'll get timelines, I can plug them into this as well and put,
Yeah.
you know, dates.
Yeah,
Perfect.
and you know what, like, it should be a rough date, like, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it's not gonna be set in stone, but
No.
estimated completion of
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
month or,
And the purpose is just to make sure that everybody stays on focus, and that's where they are, and whatever. We'll just see what happens this year with it, and then improve on it next year. You had something, Councilor Clyburn?
No, I'm
Okay.
good. No,
Okay.
we can go to question period if
Okay,
you're ready.
next, now we go to question period. How many,
15 minutes, right?
hmm?
15 minutes.
I'm trying. Okay, it's just, how many people have got question period today?
I have one, but.
Oh, they have? Okay.
I just have
Oh,
one
you
question
gotta come to the
You gotta come up, sir, here.
about the resolution, what is it? Oh,
Okay.
okay.
State your name, address. Okay,
Ron Dobrinsky, 27 Sand Hill Drive.
yes.
I'd like to thank Councilor Clyburn and my Councilor Bussetti for attention to this matter. And I'm talking about. You said a bunch of words, but I didn't really understand what this resolution is and P15 and what does it mean? Are they deemed to be out of there, or are they still working on it, or?
Okay, so I'm gonna let our acting CAO answer that question. She knows how to answer it.
Okay,
Right, so that was an in-camera item. What I can say is that the municipality is authorizing the Red River Planning District to do some bylaw enforcement there.
good.
Okay?
6 months ago, yeah, okay. And that's it?
No, we're authorizing them now to go in there and clean it up.
So if you're looking for timelines, we have no timelines yet.
You have no timelines.
Is that fair to say?
Correct, so there's
Yep.
some notice periods that have to be observed, so it's a bylaw enforcement, and there's a process that has to be followed by the Red River Planning District and the municipality, so it moves slowly, we can acknowledge that, and in particular, it's, you know,
Okay, do you have-
we can't speak to the particulars in bylaw enforcement,
Do you have a guesstimate?
no.
So in other words, I still get those bright lights at 2 o'clock in the morning shining in my bedroom from the trucks entering onto the highway.
I just wanna clarify, cause it sounded, you know, there was no real wording that was used.
That's right.
Notification, if I'm not mistaken, the notifications have been sent out, we've gone past those levels, am I correct?
We can't,
Okay, we can't go, yeah.
we can't speak to a particular bylaw
Okay.
enforcement.
Okay, because really I've got no more information than when I came in and I wasted all this time. Thank you very much.
Well,
Let's go.
sir,
I haven't got any further ahead.
well,
You're gonna do this and do that, nothing.
but that's more than what But this bylaw was more than what,
Oh, come on now.
we didn't have it when you came in.
6 months? You
Well,
gotta put up with that, stuff?
Okay.
Light shining in your night, 2 o'clock in the morning?
Reapers, they're running in the middle of the night, you can't sleep. In the summertime, you won't be able to open your window. I mean, this has been through a winter that, you know, they weren't allowed in there in the first place. And like, it's fine, but if that was a resident that moved into their house without the proper rules enforced,
Occupancy permit.
they would, you know, you wouldn't do it. It's not fair.
If I'm not in compliance with a bylaw and it's happened before with weeds and anything, I'm fined right away. And I'm told right away, not 6 months. There you go.
When we bought our lot, the grass wasn't cut. And we weren't even in possession, well, we had possession of it, but within a week, West St. Paul came in and they clipped the weeds down, and they sent us the bill. Like, no notification or anything, so it kind of, I don't know. The rules are not always followed.
I agree.
In a nutshell,
And like I said in my email, not so wonderful, West St. Paul.
in a nutshell, we acknowledge your frustration because we're just as frustrated, but I can tell you.
Well,
Hold on, just one second.
Wait,
Yeah.
let me explain.
Going forward, there is gonna be some action here.
well, I certainly hope so. And I hope I don't have to put up the whole summer with it.
Anyway,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Your turn.
I just have a little question.
Go ahead.
Closing my computer.
Jerry Belenky, 354 Gardenview Drive. About visas, the question that I have is, are they or could they pay some of these bills by e-transfers? Because we pay our bills with e-transfers, and the other company, our suppliers are very happy because they don't have to pay the charges from the credit cards. So I'm just, very
Mayor?
simple question, and it's not, I don't know if they do it or
CFO
don't
can
do it.
speak to it, but I'll tell you one of the dangers of e-transfers. There is a municipality, you can look it up, Gilbert Plains. A lot of e-transferring going on. Employee walked away with $500,000.
I understand
Want me
that.
to e-transfer? No, because then you don't have the same oversight as you do with checks. We want to keep that oversight as much as we can.
Please, keep your comments.
I didn't make a comment, actually.
Well, it was just an observation that we use, and I just thought
I know
that,
businesses, I do too,
yeah, well, I mean,
but it's approved before.
yeah, well, I like the
Right.
idea of the mayor having to approve these larger bills. I approve of that. I think that's
Yeah.
excellent. Because, you know, when you get a whole row of numbers and then you just get a total, and you're asked to sign for the total, and you really don't see the elements of the total. So, but I thought that the
Yeah.
charges, it would be faster and whatever, if there's a safety concern. But credit cards can be stolen and copied and same thing, but not $500,000. But anyhow, it's your
Okay,
choice. It's just a suggestion.
I'll just say again, Mayor, as an ex-banker, I can tell you that visas are great in the sense that if they get compromised, you're not responsible, right? So you can cancel it immediately, any charges that went on there, you're not responsible for it. That's the beauty of the credit card. The other thing is that the RM is collecting points for travel. So when we put these things on, we get points for travel, it reduces the amount of money that we have to pay when we have to travel.
Okay.
So in that respect, those are the benefits of that. And I know our CFO is on top of it, so we're not paying interest. But the e-transfer thing for me is problematic. I probably would not agree with that. As a business owner, I do that, but there's a level of approval that happens before it's done. In order for us to have the oversight, I think the checks are still a great idea. I know it may seem antiquated, but it's multiple signatures.
and everything has to get approved. So it's great oversight, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
So the issue with the e-transfers is, it is possible. It could prolong our payments though.
Oh.
Right, because currently we cut our checks, we have the mayor review our invoices, sign the checks at the same time, they go for second signature, and then they're out the door. Whereas e-transfers, he would have to go through the payment listing, approve the invoices against that payment listing, and then we would have to go to the process of uploading these payments and then having them transferred. Where we could risk the potential of paying penalties because our payment didn't get there on time.
The only reason I suggested it was because of the issue that you said the Royal Bank said that you don't have an account, and that's why I
Right, so
thought.
they automatically withdraw the
Yeah.
payment from our account
Yeah, so
based
that's
on.
why I thought, well, e-transfer, because they give you an account number, you just send it there, and they send you an email back that you received it, and it's done. So bill comes in, you just click, and it's done.
It's the
So,
same method that we're doing
Yeah,
now.
but-
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just not
a
on our end.
suggestion. I-
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Next one.
Eleanor Link, 1045 Tawshack Road. First of all, it's been nice to sit here and to see a level of cooperation and free exchange of ideas. Not everybody is agreeing with everybody, but at least you're hearing one another out. It's a very different and productive atmosphere that's building here. Congratulations to everybody. Now, I'm following up on a question that I asked on February the 23rd. I had asked about a management letter, described an attachment to the final audit. This attachment apparently refers to the auditor's evaluation of accounting procedures and systems of control used by the RM. And I quoted, "Any errors or irregularities were described in our management letter." And this management letter is not being included for residents to access in the agenda. What is the explanation for this attachment not being accessible to the public? And I also asked if this part of the auditor's 2021 audit document was marked confidential. I've heard nothing. No replies. That was February 23rd when the question was asked.
Okay.
So now I'm asking if I need to FIP a part of the public document, the supplementary report. And I am also asking, this is the third question, if the supplementary report was the emphasis for item 15.2 on this meeting agenda. The transfer of monies to the reserve bank account is, quote, per the auditor's recommendation. That's a quote from the report.
Okay. Can he, you want to? Okay. Can, so you had three questions? You had three questions, right?
Yes, yes, I have.
Are we able to respond later on to her, or do you, with her questions, or?
I have note of it.
Okay, you have? Okay, good.
I didn't hear that, I'm sorry.
She's made note of it, so we'll be responding to
Okay, but there was a
you.
note made on February 23rd, and it's now
Yes.
April 27th.
Yeah, as you can appreciate, I'm doing two very large roles at the
Yes,
municipality.
I appreciate
I have
that.
note that you have asked that. I've noted all the questions from question period.
Okay.
I do intend to respond.
Okay, I will follow up with some additional concerns regarding this with an email to everybody.
Okay,
And I already know it's something that's public. It's a public document, and that report is part of the public document.
okay,
And I can show you the part of the municipal act that proves that.
thank you very much.
Okay, thank you
I appreciate
for
your time.
your attention.
Yeah.
Councilor Clyburn?
Now, CFO, you can correct me if I'm wrong, But the auditor would recommend a transfer to reserves because we originally did not have separate bank accounts. And so this is a follow-up question, a follow-up probably to that, to say, make sure you're transferring your excess to reserves, is that correct?
Right, so we've always had separate bank accounts. In the past, the reason the transfer was not done is because we used our funds to fund projects, which we were expecting grant funding to come in at a
Okay.
later date. Now that all projects have wrapped up, we've received the grant funds, we have the funds that we can physically transfer over to those reserve accounts. Interest has been accumulated over the years to those accounts, so everything is on the books that is relating to those reserves. And like I said, we finally now have the capability that we have the funds available in our general operating to just transfer over to the reserves to ensure we have the proper funding in our reserve account.
So that's what the auditor was speaking to, correct?
Exactly, so the auditors made that recommendation, we have followed it 2 years in a row now.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
still
much.
like to see the letter, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so that's it for our meetings. We have everything covered. So now we'll adjourn the meeting. Be it resolved that this meeting of council stands adjourned at 8:45 PM. Can I have a mover, please? Council Bichetti moves it. Can I have a seconder? Council Caliber seconds it. Any comments, questions? No. Can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None? Carried.
Thank you.